let's give some time for people to come out.
Hello, Janaka type hello.
We are here. Hi everyone, welcome to the academy session today. Just pardon the construction noise you can hear in the background. So I'm Emily and today I have Janaka, William and of course Dhruval with me in the room. So today Dhruval will be sharing with us about developing web apps for everyone. But before we dive into that, let's just get to know Dhruval a bit better. So Dhruval, would you like to do a self-introduction first?
Yep. Can you guys able to hear me now? Yep. Okay. So first of all, good evening, guys. Thanks for joining this session. As you know, I'm Dhruval Prajapati. I'm a software engineer in the Aleph, Singapore, and I'm working with the Aleph since 1 year. I'm also managing a small team of front-end developers along with me. So that's pretty much experience about like an introduction about me. I'm also used to work on the different web projects based on the React and the front-end technologies. So recently I have worked on the few of the projects which comprise of marketing automation tools as well. Yep.
Cool. Okay, now that we got to know a bit more about you, so what is the secret talent that you have that nobody knows?
I think the primary talent I have is to know everybody. It's I like to do a dance a lot, but not in any form. Like it's more be a freestyle one. But if I say my secret talent, then I have found a good piece with doing cooking recently. So we have this pandemic where everyone is working from home. So I found a little bit excitement. I found myself a bit happy where I'm doing the cooking. So I think, and I also preparing good meals. So that is where like found myself very convenient with that. So I must say that cooking will be a secret talent.
Cool. I will wait for your food in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, then the next question. So what do you do when you're not coding?
When I'm not coding, okay. So when I'm not coding, I generally used to see in terms of like not any. If I put every technical things aside, I used to see a lots of dancing videos. Also, like I started nowadays reading the books as well. Right now, I'm reading Atomic Habits, and also like I used to on the weekends I used to binge watch a few shows along with my wife. So that's it pretty much, I think.
So what's your new Netflix favorite?
My new Netflix favorite, actually, I'm very bad at remembering the show names, but I found this show, which is very cool, a German show. It's a biohackers recently. So it's really good. Like it's a bit of like how they are like we engineers used to do the hacking terms. We are aware about the hacking terms, but how the biological technology can do hacking of the human beings. That's very pretty imagine like how the imagination of the storylines and everything.
So are you learning some secret hacking tips?
No, not at all. Not at all.
If you are, then we all have to be careful.
Yep.
Okay, I think I have a final question for you. So I just got a little inspired from our pocket session earlier on with the team. So if you have a time machine, which period of time would you travel to, in the past or in the future, and why?
In the future, oh my God. In the past, I can must say like because of this pandemic, I didn't able to see my family in person. So I used to travel in the past where I can meet my parents. So that would be a one. For the future, I can't say, like it's a bit trickier one. But yes, for the past, I must like to visit my home for a while.
Okay, cool. I think some of us are still streaming in, but I think maybe we can start with a bit of your presentation first. Over to you.
Yep. Cool. So, guys, let's me give you the bit of overline on the which topic I'm going to cover today. Is It's more regarding the accessibility and inclusivity. It's like two things going in hand, and it's also about what is the motivation and advantages of this one, like how you can achieve the accessibility by bringing in the regular practice, and what is the importance of our area and few example of it, and how we can finally test the accessibility of the website. So let me first of all try with a bit of an exercise here. So guys, here is the image one and image two. So if I brief in terms of accessibility and inclusivity of this one, what do you think, which image you think it's a correct example which covering the both aspect here? You can type in your suggestions inside the YouTube comments, chat comments. Anyone, guys?
I think people are still deciding which one they think there is more inclusivity.
Okay.
Just like say two.
I think Santil didn't catch your question. Maybe you can repeat yourself.
Oh, okay. So let me repeat my question. If I consider the accessibility and inclusivity as a good example, which image you think is a correct example of this one, which in this particular you are seeing on the screen? It's a 1 or 2?
For now, we actually only got 3 answers, but then Farid said 1, Jasmine and Basil said 2. What about others?
Okay, we wait for another 1 minute and then we.
Okay, we have more 2s now.
Oh, good.
Wait, a lot more 2s. Oh, Santil said 1. Zach said that 2 is so cool and it looks like a playground.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think the opinions are pretty mixed.
Is in any direction?
Yeah.
Reply to the Mohammed answer, going upward or downward, any direction.
Yeah, I think the comments are pretty mixed. So what's your take, Dhruval? Maybe you want to share with everybody?
So here my answer will go to the 2 in terms of accessibility and inclusivity. Why is that so this, let me give you a bit of overview about the accessibility first, like what accessibility and inclusivity means first. That accessibility is you are covering the a certain group of people, which is in terms of make them the features accessible, like whether they are physically handicapped or they have any disability. The inclusivity means like you are also coming a form of the users who have a temporary disability, also have some barriers for them. So I would say here the 2. Why? So people who don't have any disability, they can just use the staircase and they can walk the path. And people with certain disability, they can use the side-by-side rack, which in the zigzag pattern available here. So for the first one, what will be the disadvantage? Like suppose a person who don't have a disability or anything, they have to transit to all the rows and have to go down. But here in the particular second example, it's a pretty inclusive in terms of covering the both segment of both segments. So let me brief you how this related to the accessibility of website. So first of all, what does the accessibility means? It's also referred as a A11Y because it contains the 11 characters. So First of all, the accessibility means is the web for all. Like in any form, in any shape, the website should be accessible by the users. So, like if the user not like you can't put some users your website not accessible for them just because they have a certain kind of disability. Also, like not only the disability, like they if they have any cognitive impact. And also like they have a dysplasia or something, and apart from that there are the temporary disability kind of, they have some accident and they have like a not have they have the fracture inside a hand, and this kind of temporary disability. And also like for the some of the user which have a lower bandwidth of the network, so how you can make your website more accessible. So the accessibility means is that like we covering all the segments, is making the web available for all. So your website should be usable by as many as people as possible, and it should be like also understandable by the people regardless of like your whether they have the audio, visual, or any other disabilities. And not only this one, so how we can also, the another aspect of checking is like how you make your website accessible through the keyboard, mouse, and touchscreen, and also some of the IoT platforms. So today we see some of the example of it, some of the advantages of it, some of the business case of it. So let me first of all give some figures and facts about the disability. Like currently there are 2 billion people is disabled across the world. That is almost 37.5 people of the world's population. So, and if I categorize them, it's not about only the permanent disability. It's also about them like they have the temporary injuries, or situational, like they are accessing the websites to very bright sunlight, or where heavy dim gloom, or they like having the low bandwidth, as I mentioned earlier. So, like if I if I if we consider this all scenario, and if we see the like here the impact it will make going to a website, like suppose if your website is not accessible by them, they will miss the beat here to understand, and you miss the chance to make your website going to be like reach to a larger user base here. So what is the motivation and advantages behind this particular idea of topic is that when you make your website accessible to the any user segment which we have mentioned earlier, that you first of all you improves your public image and brand reputation, that's for sure. But if I talk about the business case here, that it will going to going to cover more 3 aspect of it. Is first of all it's going to improve your search engine optimization, like because of that your website going to index higher in the Google ranking, and it will going to be accessible by larger user base. And also like your because of the accessibility fixes, and all your website structure become more robust and simple. So what happens sometimes you tends to do end-to-end testing using a certain technology like Cypress or any Selenium kind of thing. Your script will be, you efficiently can run the script on the website. And then last but not the least thing, like in a some of the country, it's a legal thing to have your website have accessibility. So if I consider the country Europe, where every government and every website should be according to the compliance of accessibility statement they have. So it's, if you make your website accessible, it's also minimize the legal risk behind it. So there was a recent news that, not a recent news, but in the past years, if you know the singer Beyonce, because her website was not accessible by the blind people, he got received a like a professional suit against her, that her website is not accessible by the blind people. So it's always like minimize the legal risk where the countries and state is telling you to have a like a accessible website. So how we can achieve it, like in terms of like there is a if I consider the day-to-day practice, let me go into the technical aspect of it. Like if we go into the day-to-day practices of development and all, so there are the certain minimalistic practices. If we do that, are we will going to solve the lots of problem of the accessibility. So considering the accessibility checkpoints, a basic high-level checkpoints. So first of all, our website should be readable by the screen reader. So what happens is the person who's have a visual deficiency, there is a screen readers available by the in the laptop, or they can use any external plugins. Like the MacBook have a voiceover, so your website should be readable by the voiceovers, and it should read out the content in a correct way. So the second thing is for the temporary disability people who don't have can't move they have the motor issues to move their hand or something. So they can use the website using tap keys or can use with the touch interfaces only. And third and last but not the, if I go to the on the more on the legal term and the correct practices, W3C group come with the Web Compliance Accessibility Group, that's a WCAG, and created a guideline based on the Section 508 compliance that's called WCAG 2.1. So first of all, what is this Section 508 compliance? If I give you a high level overview, is that uh, any form of disabled user or any user should have accessibility to the any information technology which have in a place. So it's the web compliance. This WCAG group is come with the W3C and created this guideline WCAG, where they have made this four principle. Now, what is this four principle? Is a perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. So your website, they have made a checklist and certain rules under these four categories. And if you make your website compliant to that particular rules, your website will become more of an accessible in terms. So let's deep dive more into this perceivable. Perceivable means like your website content should be perceivable by user in terms of any way, any language is there. There should be no barrier regarding that. In terms of operable, like how they are interacting with the website, your website content should be operable there as well. Understandable is like how you're writing a content, text to speech, everything should be available. If you are using a multimedia content, there should be alternative transcript should be available. So it should be understandable in that way. And if I go to the robust area, that if any cross platform you are accessing your website, your content should stay robust and accessible. So these are the four fundamentals on which they have made a certain rules. Like there are the 12 to 13 rules they have made, and they have categorized under this four category. So based on how much rules you are going to like cover for your website, it gives the three levels of conformance to your website, like A, AA, and AAA. Triple S is the highest accessibility where you are covering all the aspect of the website. And apart from them, like it's also good to have an accessibility statement inside your website. So like where you see that certain website have a dedicated accessible statement available in the footer or somewhere. So that's denote like how this website in which form and which shape is accessible, which denotes the good practice. So let's go on the beat of technical aspect and let's understand the importance of Y area. Now, what is this Y area? Y area means like it's a web accessibility initiative, accessible reach internet applications. So don't get confused with the like a very long name, but it's just a like in form of they are just a certain attributes which relies on the certain principles. So what happens like when you add this Y area attribute to your website, the assistive technology can able to read the website very nicely and very precise way. So what happened? Let me first of all bit of clear the understanding like how this assistive technology is in terms of screen readers and any plugins reach your website. So whenever your website is rendering, it creates one DOM tree and which also simultaneously it create one accessibility tree. So every browser have a certain accessibility APIs exposed. So this assistive technology or screen readers will access these APIs and read all the DOM node according to that accessible tree. So under that accessibility tree, if you add this attribute, it will add value to the screen readers that how they are going to read it. So this Y area have like a basic three principles. It's divided into three principles or three roles, I can say, or three properties or three states, you can say. It's a role, properties, and state, which is nothing but a general HTML attributes. If we go to the any HTML, it's generally an add-on to the it's add-on on the top of attributes that it's make your website more accessible. So when we can, where we can use this particular Y area, so let's understand by technical example of this by doing. So let me switch to the particular example. So here I have a very basic HTML where I'm showing like this is the checkbox is there, where it is not like a made using the default checkbox. So sometimes what happens, the certain user have a like restriction over the HTML how they create, and sometimes developer used to create a custom checkboxes for the appearances of the website. So if I see the code of that particular checkbox, it's like on the top of the UL, it's made of using the ULLI, and it's added some checkboxes, and it's added some of the style on top of that. So it's look like that we have created one checkbox here. So let's see like how, first of all, if you made this certain kind of thing and if you have not add any Y area attribute, so how this voice over technology or certain screen readers is reading your example. So by default, Chrome is coming with the voice over. So if I let the shortcut for it's Command F5.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks descriptions of items on the screen and can be used to control the computer using only your keyboard. VoiceOver on Pro, heading level 1. Area role demo. List one item, tick, and one more item. Group, tick, is screen reader read me correctly? VoiceOver off.
So if you read it, like it's not like showing the correct way, like it is like demonstrating the state of element in terms of the, so in that place, the Y area come into the place. So for this kind of attributes, there are the three particular principles. So first is a role. So which role this particular element is denoting, it's snooping. So let's denote it by it's a checkbox, and what kind of properties it's have. So by default, it is, we are showing it as a checked. So we are showing that like a area checked and equals to true. So then I will remove this check here. And then like now let's see like how this particular checkbox will be read by the screen reader.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver on Pro, heading level 1. Area role demo. List one item. Is screen reader read me correctly? Tick box. VoiceOver off.
So if you noted that it's correctly reading the article, it's showing like element in a way, like it's showing it's a tick, it's a checkbox, and it's reading the content of the element. So like if you see, like we are just adding the few properties as an attribute, and it's helping us, our screen reader or assistive technology, to read the content very precisely. So let's also cover the few different scenarios like signpost, enhancing keyboard accessibility and accessibility of non-semantic and dynamic content updates is involved. So first of all, assume the scenario where you have a certain live updates it's happening on your website. So you have written some live update code here. And then how you can like tell your screen readers that because this is a live update, every time the update it's happened, read this content. So for that, particularly we have an area live, and this is the three possible value: assertive, off, and polite. Now what does the assertive means is like if you select assertive as attribute, then it will tell your screen readers that read out the update as soon as the new update is in place. So every time the live update is updating, don't wait for anything. Just when the update is printing on the screens, just read it precisely. Off means you don't want to make these live updates to be read out by the screen readers. So in some scenario, it's not necessary based on the content that you don't want to make this particular updates to be read out by the screen readers, then you can make it off. And the third one is the polite one. So polite one, what happens, like when you select a polite, the screen reader will only read your updates when the user is not interacting with the website. So it see the ideal time of period, and then it will going to read out the updates in the form of interaction. So another additional attribute on this is area atomic. So what does this area atomic will do? Like it will suppose sometime where happens like let me select the setting value here. What happens when the updates are coming into the chance? So like it will read, the screen reader will read it every time, but you want to see like it should read a whole chunk of block where the chunk of information is available. So it will going to use this area atomic true. If it's a false, it will not going to read the nested elements. It will just going to read the top level elements. But when you make the area atomic true, it will going to read out the update very precisely. The another case where we are showing we don't have accessibility to use the semantic tags. So what does this semantic tag is generally like we don't able to use like a nav section or some this kind of tags which are already available in HTML5. So suppose you have created one pop-up using the where the structure of the pop-up is this which showing the error. So what you can do, you can give it as a role of alert, and then you can add area relevant and all. So once you select this one, your particular block, when it's shifted into it show in the pop-up, the screen reader will read it very nicely that this is the alert one, which showing the error, and area relevant all means it will going to read out all the structures of the DOM underneath it. So it's go into the deep as soon as much as possible and will read out all the errors. Another attribute in this why area is very useful and in the day-to-day practices area required. So suppose your input is there, and then suppose your form is there and the name and password is there. So you want the user to fill out name as a compulsory field. So in that case, you can use this area required and make it true. So this is very helpful to by the screen reader to tell the visual imperative users that this particular input box is compulsory to fill out. So these are the few scenarios of this where your content is dynamically updating, where you not have a liberty to use semantics element or something. And let's cover one more scenario where your website, how should you make your website should be accessible by tabs and the keyboard and navigations. So for that, the why area attribute provide this tab index 0. Now there is two possible values for this one, 0 and -1. So when you give the -1, generally where you give the -1 is that your component will going to be rendered by any external libraries or jQuery where you are printing. So you let the jQuery and all decide the index of this one to access. And if you give it a 0, so by default, it will arrange it in the DOM tree order. So let's first see like if we don't add this tab index, so what will happen, like your content will not be accessible by the tabs. So I'm refreshing and then I'm just pressing the tab. So it's just going to the semantic elements which it's tab. So it's not tabbing my particular this tab. How can I make it tabbable? So let's have this tab index. And let me give it a 0 because it's not rendering by any external plugin. It's just by default we have added to the DOM. Let's also make another elements. So now let's see what the difference it will make. So now you can see if I pressing the tab, it directly coming out on my screen reader readme particular block which I created customly. So tab index is always useful in this particular situation. So now let's move to the final and foolproof, like a whole example, which also demonstrate the signpost and landmark. So what does this signpost and landmark means? Like where we can use the semantic elements, but like we don't adding any Y area on top of this. So this is the particular small demo of the website where it's completely construct using the semantic text like name, then the form, then there is a main for main area of the content, and there is an article, and there is a site. So like let's see like how this particular example will going to be read by voiceover. So I'm starting my voiceover here. Just a second.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver on Crow banner. Heading level 1. Header. List 4 items. Link. Home. Link. Our team. Link. Projects. Link. Contact. Search query. Search text field. Go. Button. Heading level 2. Article heading. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Heading level 3. Subsection. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Heading level 3. Another subsection. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Heading level 2. Related. List 5 items. Bullet. Bullet. VoiceOver off.
So you see, like it's reading the element, but it's not giving this significant like which role this particular element is playing. So even though the like this is the semantic signpost element, what difference it will make if we add certain rule, like if I add the rule attribute to the navigation, if I add the rule to the search and the form element, if I add the rule to the article, then let's see like how this particular voiceover will going to read this very precisely. So this is my example.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks descriptions of items on the screen and can be used to VoiceOver on Crow banner. Heading level 1. Header. List 4 items. Link. Home. Link. Our team. Link. Projects. Link. Contact. Search through site content. Search text field. Search query. Go. Button. Heading level 2. Article heading. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Heading level 3. Subsection. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Heading level 3. Another subsection. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Heading level 2. Related. List 5 items. Bullet. Bullet. Link. Side link 1.
So if you have noticed that this particular example have read when they have come to the search, it have read that this particular, because we have added this area label search to the site content. So it will tell visually imperative user that this is the search. And if you, because we sometime what happens that there is a search and search filter is also available on the website. It will tell the user that the search through a site content. And this particular search box is related to that. So actually, there are the very large list of this area in label. But the good thing is like if you can bring it in practice while doing the HTML, writing the JSX code for the React app generally or anything, then we tend to like make our website more accessible in terms of like the screen readers or any assistive technologies is concerned. So let me go through a few examples. Like as I can see, the Laybook I already asked one question like, is there any tools or any plugins to verify website? So this particular session will cover and we'll try to give his answer. So there are the certain, like as I demonstrated, like there is a voiceover, and for the Mac and NVDA for the Windows laptop is available as a screen reader natively. But apart from that, there is also external plugins like X-Wave or Accessibility Insight. So how you can test the website using this? So suppose let me go to my previous example, and I have already installed that X plugin and a few other plugins as an insight. So if I click on the analyze, it will going to show me the result straight away that there is a particular 7 issues has been found and which category it's all related to. So it will show the very descriptive, very descriptive particular report of that one. So it will show all the results, and elements must have a sufficient color contrast. So accessibility also doesn't mean by the structure of DOM elements. It's also defined like how your color contrast of the website is also there. So this is the one of the plugin which is really helpful. The another plugin is this accessibility insight plugin. So when you click on this one, it's giving you a 3 option like a fast pass. This is just like a common accessibility in just a very quickly if you're like want to check out while developing or something. So this will really help us. So it's also again raising the issue, the same thing, like there is a color contrast issue on the website. You can see that each particularly element reference, particular tag reference, and how we can fix that. So it's also showing like your color contrast ratio ideally should be 4:1, 5:1. So this one we can really take into account while we are designing the website or something. So apart from this one, relying on the external plugins, we also have some audit tools and in-house developer tools for the website developer tools as well. So if I go through the Chrome one, and if I inspect any element using a Chrome developer tool, and then I will go to this particular menu where my style, computer, and image lister is there, you can see there is a one accessibility panel. So when you go this on accessibility panel, it will give you the whole list of checking like how we can check the particular element and the area attribute we have. So if I go to the navigation one, so it show me like this is the role of the navigation is there, but there are no any further attribute has been specified here. Similarly for Firefox, that will also, because Firefox developer tool is much more advanced in terms of accessibility debugging is concerned. So let me also show you the example of that. So for Firefox, there is a separate inspect accessibility properties is also there. You can click on that and it will automatically show the accessibility panel in the developer tool. So when we check for the issues are generally, if you see, is like a contrast, keyboard, and labels. So if I go on the labels, it will show me like your search a label, there is some issue around it, and how you can fix it is also suggest like your form element should have some visible text label. Because we are missing that label here, it's showing that there is an issue with accessibility. Also, there is a contrast issue. We can check collectively how the across, like it will generate the same report like the external plugin. So by default, the Mozilla developer plugin is much more strong comparative to any other plugin or Chrome developer tools. So I will really suggest like while the accessibility checking is concerned, we should have this in a place. Another good tool from the Chrome perspective is that we have a Lighthouse report. So whenever we do the Lighthouse, it's our dedicated accessible figure available in that. So it will show suggestive feedback where your accessibility is lacking in terms of color contrast, in terms of div structure, in terms of semantic tags, everything is available there. So let's wait for a while. I think it's a local also, it's not generating. Let me go to the good website. Accessibility in media. This is one of the good example of the accessibility side. And let's see, just check the accessibility score of it using the Lighthouse plugin. So this is actually the audit plugin. As a practice, we can also like integrate this plugin in our pipeline to check like accessibility where we have very critical aspect to cover. And just to mention the one more thing that when the wire is concerned, it will not going to affect your structure of the DOM element. So it will not going to hamper the structure of, it is just going to help you in terms of like how your website is going to be readable by the assistive technology. So here you can see in the Lighthouse, it's our dedicated accessibility, like accessibility tab, which is showing the suggestions where where you can achieve the 100% in terms of accessibility is concerned. So these are the few audit tools. And also apart from this one, as a developer practice is concerned, like there is a Cypress testing, Cypress AXE testing is there. So which will do the end-to-end testing, where you can like write end-to-end code, where the robotics way your code will be rendered and end-to-end testing will be happen where the Cypress is concerned. So these are the few examples of the audit and developing, like how we can test this accessibility. And it's like as I mentioned, like this is not going to cover whole the 100% aspect of how you can make your website accessible 100%. But there are certain if you write the semantic HTML tags, if you write the YRE attributes where the possible to add more semantics to semantics tag and the HTML tag, your website you will going to like you want to solve most of the mistakes in terms of accessibility is concerned. So apart from this, there are certain outline area where like general do's and don'ts is there, like where whenever the multimedia content is there, provide a transcript so who user who can't listen anything, they can read the content. There is also like always provide the alternative text for the non-text content. Apart from this, always have like before, like sometimes the old website have HTML4, so the semantics were not fun to use the navigation and all. So what they have used to do, like they used to provide a skip link to the navigate to the main content. So apart from this, development is concerned, we can also see like how our color palettes has been used inside design, and the contrast should match this 4-jump 5-jump win ratio. And apart from this, basic guidelines rule is that like your website should be accessible. Apart from assistive technology, tabs, keyboard, and screen readers are there. And web content, like your content always should be compliant to the WCAG guidelines. So I think we can make it into the practices daily. So it is going to prompt to the most of the problem it's have accessibility. You can see like I'm adding the few attributes and resolve the lots of the complexity issues and accessibility issues for that one. So by this one, we just not make only the accessibility concern, like inclusivity also. So this also result to the problem where the certain users have a temporary or network bandwidth issue or anything. They also like there is a vast area to cover into that one. So we can deep dive into the few more topics, which is have a like a few website. If I show like where the temporary like you can't website access your website using this particular tool one. So I have demonstrated like there is a AIM website. So why I tell it's good in terms of accessibility by tabs and all. So when you tab it, so suppose it's have a like if you see it's have a sub-level navigation. So imagine like you don't have access to mouse. If a certain user can't have a motor issue with the hand and they can't use the mouse, so they can use access like access using a tab. So you can just go on that particular element using providing the correct tab index, and if you just click it, it will going to show you the menu. Then you can render it to the certain links like that. So this is how like we can cultivate the correct culture. There is also Mercy certain personality which conduct accessibility into the billions of website every year, and like he come out with the fact that every 10 website only one website is correctly accessible, and the statement from her is that accessibility is like you are cultivating the correct lifestyles to the development. So it's like not an overhead or anything. You are bringing the correct practices to the development as well. So jumping back to this few deep diving, I just want to end on this terms. This is the Tim Berners-Lee quote, who is the W3C director and the inventor of World Wide Web, is that the power of the web is in universality. Access by everyone regardless of disability is an essential aspect. So I think, yeah, that's it from my side. So let's jump onto the few questions.
Yeah, thanks, Dhruval. So let me jump on to the first question, since you have already answered Lipo's questions in your presentation. So the first question is actually from Hassan. So what's the impact of not implementing the accessibility in Google Analytics?
accessibility in terms of Google Analytics.
Yeah.
So in Google Analytics, if I assure like it's more regarding to the term of understanding the analytics of the clickable area and the hotspot and everything. The accessibility, apart from that, it's also affecting the different set of areas where your development is concerned. While the Google Analytics is more like your analytic terms, like where how your users is using or clicking the certain area, it's generating a report based on that. So like the in terms of impact, I can see like this is the two different thing where we implement the accessibility while developing or while doing the Google Analytics. But and I only see Google Analytics as a more of like a reporting tool where it's generating a report of hotspots of clicks and everything. The accessibility, I can see like it's more, it's better to be more judged by the Lighthouse, because Lighthouse is now more concise and more complete. And they are also now using to the another fundamental which calls the web vitals. But it's in the right now it's not come into the practice, but it will gradually come into the practice later on.
Okay, cool. So just to add on to this question, this question is actually from Janaka himself. So with that being said, does it affect the page ranking? Like when we do the search?
Okay, so first of all, like for the page ranking, the accessibility, where the accessibility help as a page ranking is that here we have to understand the two things, like there are the certain also other ways you can make your website more in terms of ranking is concerned. So how you use your meta tags into the website, how you have correctly use the OG meta tags, how you are writing your robots, how your content is there. So yes, accessibility make what where the accessibility helps, because you use tends to write the lots of semantic structure, and you are tends to add more y-array attribute. It's your structure of the website become more concise, and then it's also helps the certain crawlers to read the website also very well. So that is, I think, from where I can see from the perspective of Google Analytics is where like it can where the accessibility can impact.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So moving on to the next question is actually from William, which is a bit more business related. So businesses always might not always want to develop such accessibility app because everybody have a perception of it being more expensive. So how do you convince your, let's say, your potential client through any case studies that accessibility is an important aspect that can drive business goals?
Yeah, this is if we convinced by the business case, like first of all, there is also legal terms is there. But if I purely see the business case, that if your website or web app is completely accessible, if you see like the share of the disabled person is 37.5%, and where you make your website more accessible, so you see like you are covering the larger base of the users. So your website and web app will going to reach out to the larger user base. So in that terms, it will be beneficial in terms creating the brand value there. And it is also like a morally supported that like this is the particular brand who is taking care of all the user segments. They are not just focusing that the particular user is there and they are just creating the website for them. If you buy that, like every HTB you see, like they have the side, like there is a sidebar where the wheelchair person can access and go inside the staircases. So it's more about that how you can inclusivity, and that will create a more business case. If they think about the user base, it will definitely going to advantage in terms of that.
Okay, he has another question, maybe more from his designer lens of things. So nowadays we are more like dark mode is getting more and more popular, right? But then there's a debate on it whether that it actually hinders accessibility because, like, for example, it hinders some people's eyesight maybe because of the contrast. So what do you think about it?
Sorry, Emily, can you please come again?
Yeah, sure. So now from his designer lens, he has more concern regarding dark mode, which is actually popular within some of the apps now. Like for example, even if Gmail, they have the dark mode as well. So, but there's actually a debate on whether this has accessibility issues. So what do you think about that? Like, for example, the eyesight, because like the contrast is a bit harder, etc. Yeah.
Yep. So there is a one baseline for the color contrast is there, but tends to that dark mode is evolving. So we can shift to some of the cognitive design principle. I'm not that much aware about that design principles, but there is a particular principles is available in design as well, where they are discussing about the cognitive designs, where they are discussing like how your design should be made considering this dark code or the users who have the less learning capabilities and everything. So I think I'm not be able to answer this question 100% because I don't have a deep dive knowledge in terms of designing to that. But I think one of the solutions is the cognitive designs for sure.
Okay, cool. William, do you want to add on to anything to that?
I know because some of the projects that I'm working on is considering this dark mode. So we just want to assess the accessibility. But at least when we're going to dark mode, we still maintain the default mode. So it gives options for the customer as well. If they have eyesight problem, then they can go to the default mode. But personally, I'm really loving all the dark mode because it kind of it gives comfort to my eyes actually. It doesn't strain my eyes that much as compared to the default one.
Okay, thanks, William. So moving to the next one. So Wu actually made a comment on how modern testers actually love accessible app for automated testing. But in your opinion, how can we pay attention to accessibility that improves testing as a whole?
So as far as the full testing is concerned, so one thing is we surely have to do, there is a 3 stages of that. The one while you are doing the development. Second is like you implementing the auditing tool. And the third is the full check once the website is in SIT or something. So either as a SIT or a web SIT or a mobile SIT. So while developing, we can hit this. There is also mobile accessibility, which is a larger topic, and there are the few deep dives things in that. Then like you can concentrate in a way that while auditing is there, you should have implemented the lighthouse for the web perspective. There is something like for the post deployment, there is as a plugin I show, like which is largely used by the community, and it's highly rated by the community, like accessibility insights or wave plugin or this AXE plugin, which can really helpful in the correct practices.
Okay, we have 2 more questions from Anudeep actually. So I will change the order because I think the other one is a bit better for the closing. So I will ask the first question first. Who is considered a good authority on web accessibility? For example, maybe we can follow on like social media like Twitter or Instagram or anything. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, on the Twitter, I think we can follow Marcy Sutton, who is a very good author who does the audit of the 1 billion website every year. That's a too large number, and he used to tweet lots of about the accessibility on that front. So I think he's one of the good author in that terms. Another one I can say the Audios money, because he used to do a lots of update regarding the Microsoft developer and Mozilla development tool and the Chrome development tool. So they tends to use roll out the lots of features in terms of the development tools. So and also like on the front of Lighthouse as well. So these are the 2 I will rate them very highly in terms of we can follow them on Twitter. And yes, you can also follow me. Third one is me. That's a part.
Sorry, can we request you to spell out the name because I think some of them didn't manage to catch it.
Okay, so spell out the MARCY and the surname is Sutton, SUTTON.
Cool. Okay, we have another question.
And another person is Eddie Osmani, ADYOSMANI.
Okay, I think the team will actually help to type this down and then we will post on the chat so that everybody has some clarity. So we have a new questions from team. So for native apps, do they also face a similar issue and is it easier for them to solve?
For the native apps in terms of mobile accessibility, yes, there are the larger areas to cover in terms of accessibility. They sometimes now we are also used to do a React Native where we create a like a view in the React Native JS, and then we used to club it with the Cordova to wrap in the app. So where we can have a control of writing the semantics. So obviously we can target something like to write in a such a way. But I think someone from the native app perspective can shed more light into it in terms of his answer.
Okay. Before we answer Arvin's question, let's have a final question from Anudeep. So what do you think is the future of web accessibility?
I think future of web accessibility is, I can see like the government is now becoming more aware regarding this. So suppose suddenly there is tomorrow there is a rollout that the statement is there, like all the websites should be do the compliance to the WCAG guidelines. Then almost I can see like if I compare the ratio of 1 gem 10 in terms of accessibility, there is a lots of groundwork to do to make the website is accessible. So accessible website will not go away. The accessibility will be there for sure, because right now the every development perspective, even you see the lighthouse, even you see the web vitals, they made the accessibility as a core part of to judge the website ranking. So I think the accessibility is not go away anywhere. It will going to be more robust and more integral part for the web apps and the native applications.
Okay, Dhruval, thanks for that. Okay, I think Arvin's question is actually directed more towards William, so I will ask William for this. So what happens?
Yeah.
Well, the good news is the doctor said I didn't fracture, so that's a good thing. So I just received
Ooh.
only painkiller and some lotion. Hopefully it gets better. Thanks Arvin for asking. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Do we have any more questions from the floor? Any final questions before we close the session today? Maybe let's just give everybody a few more minutes. In the meantime, maybe I will ask William one more question. So from your designer lens, is there anything that you want to share, like any tips on accessibility designing, if you have any?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I think accessibility is part of the UX heuristic that we do. It's part of the metrics that we need to pay attention so much in order to create a better experience for our users. Some of the things that we need to take note, of course, the contrast of the text, make sure that it's readable in terms of the size, in terms of the colors being used and all that. And in terms of the content also, make sure that it's understandable across your target audience, right? Of course, sometimes we might have difficulties in convincing the business also that, designs should be accessible to everybody, but the business always keeps saying that we need to just focus on our target audience. So I think last time in one of the project, we proposed to have those, where you have the function where you can increase the fonts and everything, but they are not so convinced about that because there's another kind of a budget required to create that implementation. That is why I actually asked question about this to Dhruval. Yeah, so I think in terms of accessibility, in terms of navigation also, is very important. Make sure that when you are creating an element that is clickable, make sure that it looks clickable to the audience. And then colors, I've talked about it, and some of the technologies can also be incorporated, like what Dhruval has showcased just now, like voice message, screen readers, voice recognition, and all that can be further considered to enhance the whole accessibility. But of course, accessibility also has different levels, right? And like levels of maturity as well. So for designers, I really recommend, to always assess the accessibility of the product that we are designing.
Okay, thanks William for sharing. I think now is the perfect time to wrap this up. Thank you everybody for attending today. It's nice
you guys.
from you guys. So in the future, we are still having a few more sessions. So please ask your team to join us, preferably live, so that we can have more participation on this platform. So looking forward to see you guys in the next session, which will be next month on a Wednesday for the bite size, and then another academy at the end of the month. Yeah, thank you everybody, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you guys.
Thank you everyone. Thank you Dhruval and Emily for hosting.
Just when I look at you, got my head wrapped around another way. Just when I see us two, she's not the only one outside your plan. Falling down.